welcome to the CWE podcast. I am your host, Gage, or you call me Sensi for short, or call me Sensi Wrestling Enthusiast. I have a special guest here. He wrestles on the independence level. Um, I'll bring him on. I gotta shout out my sponsors real quick. Deutsch Snack and Cookie Dough. Use my code. You get about use save $5 off. Whip Energy. If you're trying to quit energy drinks, um, Whip Energy pouches. You can get 200 milligrams, or you can get 100 milligrams. I got kiwi strawberry. Uh, Very flavorful. Um, but also be sure to check out my merch. BrainPuzzlersTees.com, Rogue Energy, WG, and Advance. They're all energy drinks. Use my code CWE99 for 10% off. It helps me, it helps you. And yeah, I'm about to bring them in. Casey King, how we doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty good, pretty good. Um, how old were you when you started training?
I was actually got started. I was 22 years old, so a little bit later than most people. But I wanted to finish college first, and I had given it a try a few times when I was younger than that. But when I really got started, I was 22, and I just hit the ground running since then, man.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Who trained you, by the way?
I was trained by Bobby Blaze and Jillian Hall. They're both. Yeah, so they're both from my city, and they're really two success stories from my town. And I'm very grateful and honored to have them as my mentors and trainers.
Absolutely. And where are you from again?
I'm from Ashland, Kentucky. All three from Ashland. We're trying to make Ashland proud.
For sure, for sure. And where is Ashland located?
So we're actually in the tri-state area. So I'm right on the corner of like Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia, right on the corner of all three. So within
Okay.
2 minutes, I can be in West Virginia and Ohio.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, okay. Um, what is your earliest related wrestling memory? At what point in life did you know that you wanted to do this? It could be
The
from a
very
match.
Yeah, the very first thing I remember is actually Kane unmasking in 2003, turning on Rob Van Dam and Tombstone and Linda McMahon on the stage specifically. That was my very first memory of wrestling. I was at a buddy's house and he showed it to me, and I was hooked ever since because Kane at the time was so scary. You know, he came out with the police and he was
Yeah,
handcuffed, and he was terrifying for a kid my age, and I've been hooked ever since, man. And I knew that was something I wanted to get into, and I was always born to be an entertainer. I think, and professional wrestling is a very good outlet into the entertainment field and getting to do things that you would never get to do anywhere else.
absolutely, absolutely. Away from wrestling, do you have any hobbies or interests you like to do? You like watching sports or uh,
Yeah,
hiking?
I'm a I'm a big Phoenix Suns fan for the NBA. I've
Okay,
been a Suns fan since 2004, 2005. So right after I started watching wrestling, actually. So about the same amount of time I've been a wrestling fan. I am a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Not
nice,
as
nice.
much as the Suns, of course, because the NBA is my first love. I'm a big
Okay,
movie guy. I love watching movies. Um, I love going to the movies. I love everything about them. I do go hiking. I love hiking, camping, all that fun stuff. Of course, going to the gym like most wrestlers. Um, yeah, those are really, that's pretty much all I do. I play Xbox sometimes. I play video games, but other than that, I just hang out at home and hang out with my wife.
pretty chill guy. I got it. I got it. Do you have a day job?
I do. I'm actually a corrections officer. I work in the corrections field.
Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, most
Um,
people wouldn't expect that from me, but
right.
that's what I do.
That's cool. So is it a career job? So
Yeah, so when I got hurt in 2023 and I had to step away from wrestling, I thought at the time that I was going to be done forever. I didn't think I was ever going to be able to get a clean bill of health and come back. And thankfully I did. But in my time off, I messed around and got a good job, and that job has turned into a career. And hopefully, if wrestling doesn't work out, I always have this wonderful job that I absolutely adore. It's a very good gig for me. It's very rewarding, spiritually and professionally. It gives me everything I need out of life. Gives me creative outlets as well, just like wrestling does. And I was very grateful to get this job whenever I was away from wrestling for the time being.
Absolutely. My uncle actually did a little bit of correction officer work too. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. What's your favorite thing about Ashland, Kentucky? Is that your hometown, right?
Yeah, born and raised. I've lived here for 31 years now. What I like about it is it's just so quiet, man. It's right on the borderline of it's not a small town, but it's not a big city either. It's not Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, but it's not a tiny town either. And I've traveled all over the country for wrestling, but I don't think I've ever found anywhere that I would prefer to call home than right here. And I say I lived in Cleveland for a little while. My dad was in the hospital up there. We had to relocate up there for a little while he was in the hospital. So we didn't really technically live there, but we stayed there for an extended period of time. And so I've been away. I love it here. It's Kentucky, so there's some backwoods people here, but it's a good place to be. I really enjoy it here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that. Can you tell us about your first match? It could be singles or tag team.
Yeah, so my very first match was a battle royal for a promotion called FTC in Ironton, Ohio. In that match, we had like people like Myron Reed. Myron Reed was
Oh,
actually the first person that gave me a move in my wrestling career, if I'm not mistaken. So you had like Myron Reed and Tyler Matrix was in that match. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was a very young, talented prospect for a long time. Unfortunately, he's not wrestling much anymore. But we had a lot of good talent in that match, and that was in 2017, April 29th, 2017, I believe. And it's been a fun road ever since. I didn't get to do a whole lot because it's a battle royal, but I pitched the idea of me
right.
cutting a promo and getting some heat and getting thrown out immediately, just trying to make the most out of that opportunity that I could, because I knew people would remember a promo more than if I just went in there and punched and kicked people for 10 minutes.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, it went pretty good. And, thankfully, throughout the years, I've gotten much, much, much better than I was at that point, thankfully. But yeah, that was my first match, man. I was honored to share the ring with people that talented.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, what's your most favorite match you've been a part of, or your most proud match you've been a part of?
I think it has to be so. In November of 2024, we did a War Games match for All Star Wrestling in West Virginia. And it was the first and only, as of now, two-ring War Games match with two cages, two rings side by side in West Virginia history. We built up to it for over a year. Going into it, me and Chance Prophet had been feuding for a long time, and it just kind of spiraled from there. We had all these rivalries coming to a head in this one match. And I was in there with people like Troy Parker, who is a very talented wrestler on the scene right now, one of the best wrestlers on the entire country. And me and him started the match, and I went all the way to the end and got the win. And it was just an hour-long story. I say an hour long, but it really was a year long or more.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
it all culminated into this one match for All Star Wrestling. Other than that, one of my favorite opponents I've ever had, Shane Kryzak. I've started running and promoting shows in my hometown recently, and my first one, I was scheduled to wrestle Carson Drake, but the day before he got hurt, and he had to cancel. So, Shane Kryzak's on the card, and I wanted something I didn't have to stress about because, I'm promoting the show, I'm organizing everything. It's stressful, it's a headache. So I asked Shane if he wouldn't care to work me instead of the match that he was originally scheduled to compete in. And of course, he had no objections. And just being the first show that I ran here in my hometown and being with one of my favorite opponents ever, it was just a special moment. The crowd was on fire. We had streamers going everywhere. It was just a very special moment for me, and I think that people enjoyed it, and that's all you can really ask.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's awesome. Um, what's the longest you had to travel for a match?
I've been to Tampa a few times. I've been down there for championship wrestling from Florida. Most
Okay.
recently, I went last July for the NWA and had a match down there with the NWA. But yeah, Tampa would be the farthest I've traveled. That's hopefully going to change this year.
Okay. Okay. Cool. You ever wrestled in Cincinnati?
In the actual city of Cincinnati, I have not. I've wrestled in like Hamilton. I've wrestled
Oh
in
wow.
all the cities around Cincinnati. I
Yeah.
wrestle a lot for Spot Monkey Promotions and Tri-State Wrestling whenever they were running. Um, so I've been all around Cincinnati, but never in the actual city limits of Cincinnati. But I mean, Hamilton's pretty close.
You ever had you ever had the chili, Skyline, or Gold Star?
Absolutely, absolutely. We actually had a
If you had
Gold
to pick,
Star.
yeah, if you had to
If I
pick,
had
which
to
one?
pick one, You know, okay, so I'm gonna pick Gold Star only because we
Okay.
had a Gold
Okay.
Star in Ashland for the
Okay. That
longest
makes
time.
sense. Okay.
So I've had both, and I love both. But if you made me
Yeah.
pick, I'd pick Gold Star. And they
Okay.
used to have
Okay.
this thing called a Dorito, and it was
Yep.
like a
Yep.
yeah, dude, it was so good, so good. Man, I
I
miss having a Gold Star here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's valid. That's okay. I've ate Gold Star before. It's okay to me. I really like Skyline. It just
They're
I
both
don't know
good.
why.
Yeah, they're both
Yeah,
good.
yeah, absolutely. You said you started in pretty much started in 2017. Did you get to experience what it was like to wrestle in the COVID? What was it like in the COVID pandemic era?
Yeah, I did. So when COVID was really hitting the scene, so in January of 2020, I beat Tyler Matrix for the FTC championship, which was at the time my home promotion. It meant a whole lot to me to be able to say that I was the champion of this promotion that I had started at. And Tyler, like I said, was a tremendous talent, so incredibly talented. And for them to put the belt on me was really a testament to my hard work, I think, but also a testament to Matrix and how talented he was and how good he could make me look. Um, so I started off that year very good. I had a match the next month against the Boogeyman for All Star Wrestling.
Okay.
So 2020 started off very, very strong for me. And, I felt at the time like I was coming into my own. Looking back on it, I realized I didn't know what I was doing at all, but that's okay. You live and you learn. But
Yeah,
when COVID
absolutely.
hit, we went from wrestling maybe every weekend to, if you're lucky, once a month. Um,
Right.
it was it was a time of uncertainty. A lot of us, like I got laid off from the job I was working at the time. I didn't have a paycheck for a long time. Uh, and I was literally paying my bills based on the t-shirts that I was selling through Pro Wrestling Tees. Pro Wrestling Tees was literally paying my rent at the time. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
just a
Okay.
crazy thing to to think about. As a kid who grew up watching Kane turn on Rob Van Dam, but now years later, I'm paying my rent off T-shirts that I made through wrestling. That's it's
Right.
awesome. And I'm just some independent guy, especially at the time. I'm a lot more out there now than I was 6 years ago. We were wrestling outside a lot with drive-in shows. Um, yeah, people would pull up in their cars and we have a ring set up. But those are few and far between because of all the restrictions. And I couldn't tell you how many times shows tried to run and then they had to cancel the day before, the day of, just because the city would shut them down or, the health department would shut them down or what have you. And for good reason, it was a scary time. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't have all the information. And it was a very much a time of uncertainty that I'm glad we got through, and we came out stronger on the other side, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now if AEW or WWE comes knocking on your door, are you going to like tell your main gig, kick rocks or
Oh, absolutely, and they know that.
yeah? Okay,
They
okay.
uh, they told me I'm not allowed to leave unless it's for wrestling.
Of
So
course, of course, of
yeah,
course.
I'm very grateful to have such a good career outside of wrestling with a staff of coworkers that mean they're pretty much like family. And the last show I ran in Ashland, they all came out to support it, and
That's
that was
awesome.
really cool. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
they know that wrestling is priority. And like I said, I got that job when I was injured, and I asked them all when I finally got cleared. I was like, "Hey, I know I started this job. I haven't been here very long, but I think I want to start wrestling again." And they were all about it. They were very supportive. They thought it was awesome, and they still think it's really cool. They ask me questions all the time about it, and I'm really glad to have that job. But they know that if somebody comes knocking, wrestling is where my priorities lie.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel that. I feel that. And it takes it's hard to find a good supporting cast for real. So and you got a good supporting cast, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't
Um,
ask for anyone better.
for sure, for sure. Have you let's see. Have you worked with a wrestler that had a language barrier? Like a luchador maybe?
Never anyone that spoke a different language, but I have wrestled. So I'm hearing impaired myself. I'm completely deaf in my left ear. My right ear isn't too good either, so I can't hear anything in the ring at all. So with that, it's hard for me to communicate in the ring already. But I have wrestled guys who are completely deaf before. Actually,
Okay.
one of the shows in Tampa, the first show I worked down there was a guy named Charles. I'm going to butcher his last name, Charles Abernathy, I think is how you say it. But he's a completely deaf wrestler, and so I'm already basically deaf. He's
Okay.
completely deaf, and that was a very interesting experience. We had to call the whole match on Notes app on our phone, and it was
Wow.
pretty cool.
Wow.
I'm glad I
Wow.
got to do
Okay.
it. Yeah, so now I feel like I know what it feels like when people wrestle me and they have to, have to talk real loud or whisper in my good ear or whatever.
For
Never
sure.
anyone speaking a foreign language, but definitely some obstacles in working somebody who is completely deaf.
For sure. I mean that I mean for you to do that, that's awesome. That's incredible. That I mean, yeah, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
So um have you had a strange encounter with a fan or unusual experience?
Yes, and nothing like too crazy. But I
Right.
wrestle a lot in Appalachia. I wrestle a lot in West Virginia and
Yeah,
Tennessee and Kentucky. And fans here get wild. In
for
a lot
sure.
of these towns, it's still real to them. And that's a great
Yeah.
thing. That's a beautiful thing. And I love wrestling in Appalachia. I have wrestled for billionaires, and I have had promoters run out of the building to get out of paying me. I have wrestled some of the biggest names on the planet, and I've wrestled my best friends. And if you ask me where my favorite place to wrestle is, I'd always say Appalachia because of the fans.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a crazy thing because like you go to these shows and it's like going back in time. You step back into the territory days. You step back into the IWC when the Poffos and Randy Savage and them were running around these parts, and
Right,
the
right.
NWA was hot, and it never changed for them. So you walk in there, and they hate the bad guys, and they love the good guys, and it's classic good
It's
versus evil. And they were,
right.
yeah,
It's old school wrestling. Yeah.
and they are not afraid to let you know who they like.
That's
Getting in
awesome.
your face and screaming at you. Getting in the heel's face and screaming at them, throwing stuff in the ring at them, and it's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. I hope it never changes.
For sure, for sure. Um, you seem like you're a baby face. Are you a baby face?
Yeah, pretty much now I am a full fledged babyface, man, a white meat babyface. I'm Rocky Balboa is what I like to compare myself to.
Awesome. Did you used to work a heel?
Yeah, when I first started, I worked heel. I worked heel pretty much until I tore my ACL. When I tore
Oh,
my ACL in 2021, I used that time. I was out another year, and I used that time to really reinvent myself. And um, after I wrestled the Boogeyman All Star Wrestling, the promoter Gary Dameron told me, "Hey, I think I'm gonna have to turn you babyface because the crowd is just reacting to you. They like you." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." And then COVID happened, and then I tore my ACL. But when I came back, I wanted to completely reinvent myself. So I came back as squeaky clean Casey King, which is a complete 180 of what I was doing before, you know. And before I was having people laugh at me, you know, as the heel. I wanted people to laugh at me so the
of
baby face
course.
could get over. Now I want people to laugh with me.
Right,
And, you know, it's not completely different because I'm doing the same stuff. It's just how I'm doing it is different.
right,
Um, Now I think my strength is in my selling and in my ability to garner sympathy. Um, and before my strength was getting people to laugh at me, getting egg on my face, you know, talking this big game, losing, and then lying about, you know.
right.
So yeah, I was a heel, but now I just love being the baby face, man. I love getting beat up, and I love coming from behind and working from the bottom. Like I said, I like to compare myself to Rocky Balboa, and I mean that because Rocky Balboa got beat up the whole fight until he came back at the end. You know, every time.
Yeah,
And Jeff
absolutely.
Hardy, I heard Jeff Hardy say on a podcast, "Let's get to the heat early so I can have a good comeback." And I really think that that is storytelling
Okay.
101. I
Yeah.
really believe that. And I think pro wrestling is at its best whenever it's very simple and easy to understand. And I think that as a babyface, I'm able to deliver those stories in a way that it can grab people who aren't wrestling fans and they are able to understand it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I like that. Um, for your character, like, who are your influence for your character? Like, who made Casey King? Who was the wrestler that was like, that's gonna be Casey King one day?
Oh man, there's so many. So John Cena, obviously, I think he's the greatest of all time. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. But also, in the same breath, I have to give credit to Colt Cabana, who is the
Okay.
reason I started wrestling. And I was very, very grateful to be able to tag with Colt Cabana last year for the, you know, finally he's my guy, dude. Colt Cabana is, I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time for what he has contributed to the business. Um, and also with Cena and Colt Cabana, I have to mention Bailey. Bailey, I believe, is one of the absolute best baby
Bailey.
faces that we have ever seen. I
Her
think that
NXT hugger, her hugger. Oh my gosh, everybody loved it.
yeah. So I do a lot of hugs now. I'm the hugging guy now.
Okay. Okay.
I hug people, and I got that not just from her. You know, I also borrowed from like the best friends in AEW and like Santino Marella, and really
Okay.
just getting stuff back on the back end. You know, but I borrowed a lot from Bailey, and I think Bailey, whenever she wrestled Sasha Banks in Brooklyn at Takeover,
Oh
I
my
don't think
goodness.
I don't think I've ever seen a better professional wrestling match than that. I think there's matches that are as good, but I don't think I've ever seen one better. And I don't think I've ever seen a better babyface than I did that night. I don't think she's the best babyface ever, but I think she was the best babyface we've ever seen that night.
Of
And
course.
I think she is tremendously underrated as a worker. And then also you have like Chris Jericho, who is always never afraid to get people laughing, and Christian, who also is another underrated guy. Shawn Michaels, as far as like selling and storytelling goes. Daniel Bryan, Brian Danielson, also with how selling and all that stuff goes, psychology wise. But those are really the ones that come to mind as far as like contributing to Casey King. I borrow a little bit from all of those people.
Awesome. That's awesome. Um, who would you say your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling would be?
My personal Mount Rushmore, or
Yes.
like
Yeah, your personal
So,
opinion.
okay, so you have to do John Cena, Bailey, and Colt Cabana. Those are my three. Those
Okay.
come easy to me. You ask me my three favorites. Those are my three favorites. Now, number four, that's going to get a little complicated. If you ask me right now, I'm going to say The Undertaker.
Okay.
Um, and I know that's completely different than the other three, but I just grew up as such a huge Undertaker fan, and I remember for one of my birthdays, my parents got me Tombstone, the complete history of the Undertaker on DVD, and they also got me like a 3-pack of the classic figures that had his debut Undertaker, the Phantom of the Opera, and American Badass Undertaker on the 3-pack. And that goes for a lot of money now. I wish I would have kept it, but I didn't.
That's awesome. That's
Um,
awesome.
so right now, if you ask me right now, it would be John Cena, Colt Cabana, Bailey, and The Undertaker. Ask me tomorrow, that fourth spot might change. But right now, that's who I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. As a fan, do you have an all-time favorite match?
Yeah, like I said, it's Sasha Banks versus Bailey, NXT
Okay.
Takeover
Okay. Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's tremendous, man. Absolutely tremendous. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you go and do it immediately because it is classic good versus evil storytelling. It is classic babyface overcoming the odds, classic underdog story. It's just everything professional wrestling is about, perfectly encapsulated by Bailey and Sasha. They did their jobs phenomenally, and I could talk about that match all day, so I'll stop while I'm here. But it's very, very good, and I highly recommend everybody go watch it. Besides that, for the same reasons, Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan at Survivor Series 2018, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good match. David versus Goliath,
Oh yeah.
good versus evil. It's for the same reasons Sasha versus Bailey is my favorite. Also, the same reasons that one is my favorite.
For sure. For sure. Who would be a dream opponent for you? It could be present day or past.
Oh man, so I got Colt Cabana, so that was the dream match. I checked that off. That was my number one.
Right.
Um, Other than that, for the way I wrestle now, and I'd like to come from behind, I like to take a beating and come back from it. Show that I don't give up. Show that I don't quit. Show that I have heart. So I think with that, I would have to say Brock Lesnar. Um, I think that it is a perfect match as far as overcoming odds and obstacles. Gunther would be the same type of deal. Um, just anyone that I could take a beating from and show that I'm resilient and show that I can come back and keep on fighting, even though I'm getting my butt kicked and something like that. So
For
those two
sure.
come to mind.
For sure. For sure. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the industry right now? Like, I know we have so many promotions right now. Um, yeah, despite I'm not trying to put no tribalism in it because I'm a pro wrestling fan. I don't see tribalism. I don't see
Of course.
no promotions better. I just find I mean like the storytelling might be different, but I mean it's pro wrestling in general.
Yeah, I think wrestling is in a pretty good spot right now. It got really hot 2 years ago with the whole Cody Rhodes story and the Bloodline. It's cooled off a little bit, but it's still super super hot. AEW is in a good place right now. They have their niche and they have their market, and I was able to make my AEW debut last September, and I'm very fortunate, and I hope very much to be invited back.
Really?
Um,
Okay. Can you walk us through like how is that? Like
Yeah, so I've been there a few times. That was my fourth time being invited backstage, and I hadn't gotten a match. And the first three times, I was one of the boys on TV during Chris Jericho was Dalton Castle
okay.
for the Ring of Honor World Championship in Cincinnati. So I had done stuff there, but I hadn't gotten a match yet. And they came around locally to Huntington, West Virginia last September, and I got a match against the Frat House on Ring of Honor. And it just shows that keep showing up and keep doing what you're supposed to do, and keep getting better and improving yourself. They know who I am. They know everyone who is on the independents pretty much. and when they need you, they'll call you, and you got to be ready for it. I was very fortunate. We only wrestled for about 2 minutes, but it was a great 2 minutes. The crowd, I walked out. Of course, it's pretty close to my hometown. It's 20 minutes away. And they were chanting Casey as soon as I walked out. So that's a very cool feeling. Yeah, it was a very, very cool feeling. And, it's like I said, I hope to be invited back.
Absolutely.
But yeah, AEW is in a great place. They have their niche, they have their market. They're doing what they do, and they're going to do it as good as they do. WWE, I'm a fan of WWE. I don't understand why people are so against the product. I understand why they're so against the politics behind it. Sure, I get that. But at the end of the day, we're wrestling fans, and I watch wrestling to watch wrestling. The NWA is doing their thing. Like I said, I debuted for them last July. They're doing their thing. They're coming back around. I hope to see them get a good foothold in the market. JCW Impact is on AMC now, man. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and the independents are drawing big houses. I couldn't tell you the last time I wrestled in front of less than a couple hundred people. Maybe if I thought really hard, I could tell you, but I really don't think I could tell you the last time I wrestled that wasn't in front of a couple hundred. And that's a very good sign, because for a while there, I was wrestling in front of like 10, 15 people, and
Wow. Yeah.
So I think the industry is in good shape. I really do. There's a lot of good talent coming up, and if the older vets can start giving back a little bit, and not that they don't already, but they pass on some knowledge, I think we're in a very good situation. And there's so many places to work right now. I think it's in a pretty good spot right now. I really do, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. I really believe that it's in a pretty good spot.
For sure, I do too. Absolutely. Do you have any social media you want to shout out? Because I know social
Yeah,
media, it plays a big part in independent levels. Getting your name out. But yeah.
yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook at KY Casey King. I'm on TikTok. I don't post on there a whole lot, but you can follow me. I'll follow you back. But Instagram is my main platform. Facebook, I'm on there as well. I don't do a whole lot outside of that, but I'm on Letterboxd, which is a movie social media app. You can follow me for all my movie takes. It's at KY Casey King as well. You can go see me ramble about movies anytime you want to. But prowrestlingtees.com/Casey King. And then, of course, you can catch me at Independence all across the Midwest and beyond. And hopefully one day you'll be able to see me on TV regularly. But until then, I'm an independent professional wrestler, and I'm proud of it.
That's awesome. I like that. Do you have any advice to younger folks looking to try to break into the business?
Yeah, the best advice I can possibly give, I'll give two if that's okay.
Yeah,
The first one is to really do your research on the training school that you're going to. There's too many people that were opening training schools and they have no idea what they're doing. Go get trained by people who have been where you want to be. I was trained by Bobby Blaze and Jillian Hall. They are world-class professional wrestlers. Jillian Hall was literally women's champion of the entire world at one point. Sure, it lasted for 4 minutes, but she was there.
She was, yeah.
And she is a tremendously intelligent person. She is so underrated as a worker because she was in an era where they did not care a whole lot about women's wrestling. Yeah. But she was a workhorse in a sea of divas. And Bobby Blaze, he came from the Malenkos. He came from WCW and Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and he traveled the world on somebody else's dime and has his t-shirts to prove it. And I'm very grateful to have them as my trainers. So just do your research and get trained by people who have been where you want to be. And that doesn't mean they have to have been in WWE before. That doesn't mean they have to be, Hall of Fame or whatever the case is. But as long as they are where you want to be, like Aaron Williams, for example, from Cincinnati, he is a tremendously talented professional wrestler who Unfortunately, never. It's not too late, but he's never gotten the contract that maybe that he wanted when he was younger. But I could sing Aaron's praises all day if you let me. You know, he's so talented, and his resume speaks
Yeah.
for itself.
Mhm.
So just get trained by people who have been where you want to be, man. And my second piece of advice is right now start going to the gym, get your body in the shape it needs to be in. That's something I wish. Well, I did know. I won't say I didn't know. That's something I wish I applied when I was younger. Because now I'm playing catch up. I'm 31 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life, thankfully. But you know, I should have been this way 10 years ago when I started. And
Right.
who knows what opportunities I would have gotten, because for a long time my body and my physique was what was holding me back. And now that's not the case. You know, there's always room for improvement, but I'm in the best shape of my life. So start now and, you know, hit the gym hard, man. Get your nutrition locked in. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, but you have to, you know, it's professional wrestling. We are athletes.
Mhm.
Um, you have to be in some semblance of shape. You have to have some semblance of athletic ability, and you don't want to be 31 years old like me trying to play catch up with these young kids.
Right.
Get in the gym now and get in there fast.
For sure. For sure. And then let's see. Do you have a favorite move you like to do or you won't do?
Yeah, so I don't really have any moves I won't do. You know, like this past weekend at IWA East Coast, I took a power bomb out of the ring through two tables, which I don't think anybody.
I was gonna talk to you about that, man. How was that spot? Cause that was like that was 2 tables set next to each other, and you got
Yeah,
powerbombed out of the ring, and then that was concrete floor, right?
yeah.
Underneath
Well,
the
it
gym?
was hardwood. It was a gym
Oh, yeah.
floor.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But dang,
So
that was rough.
yeah, I mean, it really wasn't terrible. I had Troy Parker power bombing me, and like I said, he's one of the best wrestlers in the country. He took care of me, and would you believe it if I told you that we called that on the fly? Because we did. The spot was he power bombs me outside of the ring onto two other people.
Oh,
Um, but when I came out, I saw the tables there because the TLC match is the main event, IWA East Coast return. Um, I saw the tables there and I walked over to them and I said, if they're still there when we go to do the spot, maybe we just do that. And so when he picked me up, he said, do you want to do the tables? I said, yeah, I might as well. So
just move
we
me.
so you know it was called on the fly and I'm really glad we did it because it was awesome. It made for a great video. It made for great content. Thankfully I'm safe and it didn't cause me any injuries, and we made it through the next day. But as far as my favorite moves to give, uh, I love giving arm drags. I have become kind of an arm drag guy, and also airplane spins.
Okay.
Just classic wrestling, man. And you know, mine a little bit different. Have a little bit of a tweak to them, but yeah, I love those because they're so simple. The room for error is not zero, but it's low. Um, and monkey flips are another one of my favorites. And of course, just giving out hugs, man. I love to hug. I love to spread
That's awesome.
positivity, and I always come out with a smile on my face and a hug to give.
That's awesome. I like that. Do you have any pre-match traditions or rituals, or are you superstitious at all?
Uh, so I'm not superstitious, but I do have a little routine. You know, I'm always stretching, always getting a pump on before I go out to make sure I look the best I possibly can. But before I go out, every curtain, since I've come back from my injury when I thought I was going to be done wrestling forever, I have to say, let's go have some fun. And
Okay. Okay.
because
I like it.
I have to, I have to remember up here that wrestling is fun sometimes. And sometimes when I'm working these bigger matches, these bigger shows, I get in my head and I can stress myself out. But at the end of the day, we're doing this to have fun, and we're doing this so the fans have fun. So before I go out, if you're ever in the back at a show, you're going to hear me say, let's go have some fun. And I mean that because we'll go, well, as soon as we step through that curtain, we're having a blast, man. I'm honored to be here. I'm blessed to be part of this business, and I'm just having so much fun.
Absolutely. I hear that. Um, so My last guest I had on had a question for you. His name was Anthony Toatelli from OVW,
Yeah.
Ohio Valley Wrestling, located
Yeah.
in Louisville, Kentucky. His question was to you: if without professional wrestling, what would you be doing? Like if
Yeah, I
there
would
was, if like if
probably.
yeah, if pro wrestling wasn't involved, like is not was not on this earth, yeah, what would you be doing?
Oh man, I think that. Whew, that's a hard question because professional wrestling has really made me who I am.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Before I started wrestling, I was very self conscious. I was very, I was in my own head a lot. I was my own worst enemy, and I don't think anybody I went to school with would have predicted that I became who I am. Not that I'm a successful professional wrestler or anything. I just mean my attitude, my personality, my mindset, my view on life and stuff. And that's all because of professional wrestling. And if I wasn't wrestling, what I wanted to do in school was to be a cop, actually, would be a police officer. And
Okay.
in the last few years, I've gotten two offers to go do that, and I've turned them both down. So it's crazy how when you're in school and you don't think professional wrestling is a realistic option, and you have this other dream, and then that dream's presented to you, and you turn it down. Uh, so maybe that door's open in the future, but for right now, that I think that's what I would be doing, and hopefully try to bring some positivity to the world in a different way. Because that's what
Absolutely.
it's about. I want to be spreading positivity, whether it's through wrestling or through another means. But if I wasn't wrestling, I'd be trying to do that in some other way.
For sure, for sure. I like that. I'm about to wrap this up. Do you have any upcoming shows you want to promote?
Yeah, I got a big one coming up in Kingsport, Tennessee. Innovate Pro Wrestling is bringing back the Smoky Mountain Cup. It's a 2 night tournament. I am booked there. It's March 13th and 14th. Hopefully, I win night one to go on to night two. Um,
Okay.
but it is a big deal. Um, what else do I have coming up? March 20th, I have Spot Monkey Promotions
In
in
Georgetown.
uh,
Yep.
in Georgetown. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wrestling the Box Office Blondes, teaming with Lifeguard Ross. So that's going to be a fun match. It's for the tag team titles tournament. And then March 27th, I am at Pro Wrestling Conquest, wrestling Kerry Morton in Charleston, West Virginia, one of my favorite promotions to work at. And then after that, the year just keeps going, man. It's going to be a busy year, and I'm very grateful and honored to have a schedule as full as it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is episode 23. Casey King, guys. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh man! So you asked me a bunch of questions about my wrestling fandom. What about you, man? Who's your Mount Rushmore?
My Mount Rushmore would be, so I would say Stone Cold,
Okay,
Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, and John Cena.
gotcha, man. Yeah, those are four great. I thought you were going to go like the anti-hero route when you said Orton and Austin. I thought you might have said CM Punk after that, or someone like that.
So
But
CM Punk is definitely, he's definitely top 10 on my list for sure.
me too. He's top 10 for me as well, man. He's so talented. But yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from Jeff Hardy. I wasn't the biggest Jeff Hardy fan growing up, but I really appreciate him now as a performer. Randy Orton's one of the greatest of all time, and Austin, he speaks for himself.
Absolutely. My fandom, like it shot through at a young age for me. I just became a fan of it ever since. It's been a part of my childhood. But you know, the independent levels is what I'm, trying to expose. Like I want to shine more light on the independent levels because you guys do exactly what they do on TV. Like, I mean, you guys are the same athletes that we see on TV, but why can't, we expose it and shine more light on it? But yeah, the independent levels, man, that's where you're. that's where people have come through. Have you like AJ Styles is one of them, like the biggest independent guy out there. He just
Yeah.
retired from WWE and just got into the Hall of Fame within 10 years of being in WWE, which is the fastest ever for a wrestler to accomplish. So, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
you never know. You never know who you're going to see on the independents, man. There's so much talent there out there that it's really beneficial to you to get in while the getting's good and seeing some of these people. You know, a lot of wrestling, especially on the independents, is really bad, and I think we all know that. But when it's
yeah,
good, dude, it's great. And
right.
you know, I hope that if you ever come see me on the Independence, that I give you a show that you're going to remember, and that you leave talking about me and my match and my moments, because that's what I try to do. I try to leave people talking. I try to leave wrestling better than when I found it. And the Independents are a great way to do that, man. Like I just worked a TV match.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? Yep, we lost him. Hold on. See, hold on. My bad.
You're good, buddy. Can you
What
hear
were you
me?
saying? Yeah, yeah.
I was just saying that I went and worked some TV for a promotion in Lexington, Kentucky last week, and I had 4 minutes to wrestle. You know, I love working TV and TV matches, but there's nothing like going out on the indies and them giving you 20 minutes to really go out there and have some fun with the crowd and interact. You know,
For
there's nothing
sure.
like it.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, I love pro wrestling, but yeah, my biggest goal is to, expose the indies more because they deserve it. So, and yeah, and obviously, having you come on my show, giving you a platform to talk is, I mean, I love hearing you guys talk about the business. I love it. So,
It's much appreciated, man. Thank you for all you do.
absolutely. So, I might show up at the Georgetown event, and I might see you wrestle, and we'll have to link up and get a picture then.
Absolutely, man. I hope to see you there.
Awesome, awesome. This is episode 23 with the squeaky clean Casey King. And if you guys have not, be sure to check out my sponsors. I got Deutsch Cookie Dough. You use my link for $5 off on each purchase. Whip Energy, the caffeine pouches. If you're trying to quit energy drinks, a good alternative. I also got Rogue Energy, WG, and Advance, my energy drinks. Use my code CWE99 for 10% off. And be sure to check out this merch also on Brainbusters Cheese. And yeah, and I also debuted a new logo. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, that's episode 23. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a big old like, follow, subscribe, and yeah, we'll be back Friday with Colt Johnson. Colt Johnson, yeah. So I hi